ABL delivered several legitimate punches that left Blue Meanie bloodied. He turned into Red Meanie after that segment.
Damn, he turned into Purple Meanie.
Dirty Dan. Dirty Dan. Dirty Dan. I'm Dirty Dan. I don't know what you mean. I'm Dirty Dan. It's absolutely amazing. I'm Dirty Dan. Whoa, Dirty Dan.
So, we all know in the WWE, a lot of shit is fake. 80% of shit is fake. But what about the few times when shit is not? When shit is scripted, but when niggas get actually mad.
Many WWE wrestlers have had their fair share of disagreements. It has gotten pretty intense at times, and even though, more often than not, things are scripted between the people competing, sometimes things get real. Tempers flare, the script is thrown out the window, and things get violent. In today's video, we will mention all the times WWE wrestlers fought for real in the ring. As they say, ladies first. In August of 2021, Charlotte Flair and Nia Jax had a match on Monday Night Raw that
I don't know who either one of these is.
Quickly turned real. The match became infamous due to a sudden breakdown in cooperation, turning into what appeared to be a real fight. Things started to go wrong during the match after Nia Jax delivered a rough spinebuster and a botched backdrop, causing Charlotte Flair to land awkwardly. After a few awkward and stiff exchanges, both women began hitting each other with legitimate strikes and slaps. The match turned into a shoot fight, with neither woman holding back. The audience was confused and intrigued by the sudden shift in the match's tone and aggression. The match concluded with Nia Jax pinning Charlotte Flair cleanly, which was reportedly the planned finish despite the issues during the match. Backstage, both wrestlers clarified each other with legitimate, causing Charlotte Flair to go wrong during the match after Things started to go wrong during the match after Nia Jax delivered a rough spinebuster and a botched backdrop, causing Charlotte Flair to land awkwardly. After a few awkward and stiff exchanges, both women began hitting each other with legitimate strikes and slaps. The match turned into a shoot fight, with neither woman holding back. The audience was confused and intrigued by the sudden shift in the match's tone and aggression. The match concluded with Nia Jax pinning Charlotte Flair cleanly, which was reportedly the planned finish despite the issues during the match. Backstage, both wrestlers clarified.
Wait, so the big bitch was the... I ain't gonna hold you. I would have been like, hey, look. Let's keep going.
That there were no hard feelings. Nia Jax recounted that they discussed the incident afterward and reaffirmed their friendship, emphasizing that emotions and egos can sometimes lead to such incidents in the heat of the moment. This reassurance helped mitigate some of the controversy. The next entry on our list features two former Lucha Libre WWE.
Wait, is this not Rey Mysterio? This ain't Rey Mysterio?
Gahazahum, that's a big woman.
Bro. Oh, what the fuck? Why is that shit so funny, bro? Why is that shit so fucking funny? Why is that shit so funny, bro? Oh my god. Using God's help. Oh my god. That shit is so funny, dog.
That's a huge bish.
Bro, the way that shit be saying, God's help. It sounds like she's legitly scared. That shit's so fucking funny. Bro, I got a headache, bro. I've been laughing too much today, dog. I got a headache.
WWE superstars who did not make amends backstage. If a professional wrestler gets injured during a match, they have every right to stop it. It's important for their safety and well-being. They generally won't do this, as they don't want to break the illusion of their durability. Usually the wrestler will just let the referee know so they can make changes to the match on the spot and prevent any more injuries. But Sin Cara didn't care about his reputation when he cut his match against Alberto Del Rio short on Monday Night Raw's July 8, 2013 episode.
Hilarious,
he dislocated his finger while jumping through the ropes in his signature entrance. Del Rio was angry at Sin Cara for ending the match because of a tiny injury.
I'm sorry.
So short on Monday Night Raw's, but Sin Cara didn't ability being. They generally won't do this, as they don't want to break the illusion of their durability. Usually the wrestler will just let the referee know so they can make changes to the match on the spot and prevent any more injuries. But Sin Cara didn't care about his reputation when he cut his match against Alberto Del Rio short on Monday Night Raw's July 8, 2013 episode. He dislocated his finger while jumping through the ropes in his signature entrance. Del Rio was angry at Sin Cara for ending the match because of a tiny injury. So, he decided to take matters into his own hands, throwing Sin Cara back into the ring and giving him a good kick in the ribs. Del Rio admitted to doing it in interviews. He said he was pretty upset with Sin Cara's lack of professional pride. This incident caused controversy, especially backstage, where tension and heat already existed surrounding Sin Cara. Many wrestlers were reportedly upset because they felt that Sin Cara should have continued the match despite the injury, as other wrestlers often worked through similar or even more severe injuries. This reaction was partly due to the perception that Sin Cara had a history of not wanting to lose matches and causing disruptions. Reports indicated that this situation was just one of many contributing to the overall...
Okay, so that's not Rey Mysterio. I was like, so that's not Rey Mysterio? Okay. Sin Cara.
Negative perception of Sin Cara among his peers. The match itself was relatively short, and the audience reaction was mixed. While some fans understood the severity of an injury and the need to end the match early, others were disappointed and confused by the sudden conclusion. Even though Sin Cara was a full-time professional wrestler, this was not the case for Steve-O, who is part of the next entry on our list. Steve-O isn't a wrestler, but WWE wanted him to be one. The Umaga vs. Steve-O match on Monday Night Raw in 2006 became
R.I.P. Umaga, because I know that nigga died. And I ain't gonna lie, he was kind of cool. When I used to watch wrestling, Umaga was one of the niggas I used to watch. He was cool.
Infamous due to the unexpected real aggression shown by Umaga. The initial idea for SummerSlam 2007 was to have the entire Jackass crew, including Johnny Knoxville and Bam Margera, take on Umaga in a handicap match. Still, Steve-O and Chris Pontius stepped into the ring with Umaga on Raw, and Umaga completely wrecked them both. It was wild. The encounter started as a scripted segment where Steve-O and his Jackass co-star Chris Pontius were supposed to get beaten down by Umaga. He finished off his beatdown by doing a top rope splash on Steve-O, but things went off the rails afterward. Steve-O had no idea he was supposed to lie down and stay still, so he started flailing around dramatically. Umaga then felt he wasn't getting the respect he deserved and decided to teach Steve-O a lesson by landing a few real punches to keep him down. Steve-O later recounted the incident, expressing that he was terrified during the match and realized his mistake of not staying down. He remembered being manhandled and recalled almost nothing from the moment the beatdown intensified until he was examined by doctors backstage. This experience highlighted the danger involved when non-wrestlers participate in wrestling stunts without understanding the sport's nuances. Chris Pontius shared that Vince McMahon, the former WWE chairman, was pleased.
We already watched this shit. We already know about this nigga. He loves all type of fucking real blood and chaos and all types of diabolical shit. We learn about you, nigga.
With how the segment turned out after the match. However, he acknowledged that there should have been better communication about staying down to prevent the situation from escalating. Vince McMahon's reaction emphasized his focus on the entertainment value of the segment despite the real physical risk involved. The controversy highlighted the unpredictable nature of involving celebrities in wrestling matches, especially when they lack the training and understanding of in-ring protocols. However, even with the so-called veterans and pros, things can go wrong. That's what happened in the next entry on our list. The Blue Meanie was an ECW veteran from 1995 to 2000. It's interesting because JBL had a problem with him right from the moment he walked.
JBL be clotheslining the shit out of niggas
Through the door and joined WWE. He'd just keep taunting and bullying the newcomer, trying to provoke him into a fight. He knew the Blue Meanie couldn't do much about it since he was an outsider. Eventually, things broke down at One Night Stand in 2005. The incident between JBL and the Blue Meanie at ECW. One Night Stand 2005 has become one of the most controversial moments in wrestling history. JBL got all fired up because he thought the Blue Meanie was talking trash about him online. During a scripted chaotic brawl in the ring at the end of the premium live event, JBL gave the Blue Meanie a real beatdown. JBL delivered several legitimate punches that left Blue Meanie bloodied. He turned into Red Meanie after that segment.
Damn, he turned into Purple Meanie.
Blue Meanie had to get medical treatment right away backstage, and WWE even paid him double the agreed amount for the evening to make him feel better and compensate. This was particularly egregious, as Meanie had just received stitches from a previous match he had earlier that night. Blue Meanie later recalled the event, mentioning that JBL started throwing punches with a fistful of rings, and he had to defend himself as best as he could. Blue Meanie described feeling blindsided by JBL's attack and criticized JBL for his unprofessional behavior. He mentioned that despite the physical confrontation,
JBL is a bitch-ass nigga, so he started beating on him with a fistful of rings. That's why that nigga was leaking like that. Damn. That's fucked up, bro. That's that ass fucked up.
he tried to explain his side of the story to WWE officials, who initially did not understand the severity of the incident. JBL defended his actions, claiming Blue Meanie had instigated the situation by cutting a shoot promo on him during the event, accusing JBL of being responsible for his firing from WWE and making other derogatory remarks. JBL stated that he only retaliated when he felt Blue Meanie was not acknowledging him and throwing heavy punches. The incident caused a stir backstage, with many wrestlers and officials expressing dismay. John Laurinaitis confronted Blue Meanie about the incident, initially misunderstanding the situation, but eventually realizing the extent of JBL's aggression. The controversy generated significant fan backlash and online discussions, with many fans condemning JBL's actions as bullying. In a later interview, Bruce Pritchard mentioned that tensions were high that night and that the situation escalated out of control. He stated it was unfortunate, but noted that cooler heads eventually prevailed. If you think JBL got away without any consequences from this drama, think again. To address the fallout, WWE offered the Blue Meanie a short-term contract and a rematch against JBL on the July 7th, 2005 episode of SmackDown.
And he got his ass
Stevie
whooped,
Richards made a surprise appearance at the end of the match between the Blue Meanie and JBL and delivered one of the most brutal chair shots ever seen in WWE as retribution. He nailed JBL right in the head, and it was intense. There was no glancing blow or sideswipe to lessen the impact. He just put it right in. Stevie Richards then claimed responsibility for that chair shot on WWE.com. He said it was payback for what JBL did to the Blue Meanie. Even though the Blue Meanie didn't have his receipt, Stevie Richards ensured he got it. In the years following the incident, JBL and Blue Meanie have reportedly reconciled, with Meanie noting that they are now on friendly terms, even interacting positively on social media. This incident remains a notable example of real-life conflicts spilling into the wrestling ring. You can understand when people who have only been working together for a short time, which was the case between JBL and the Blue Meanie, get into a shoot fight. But that wasn't the case with the next two wrestlers on our list. There are only a few instances in wrestling where it's okay for a wrestler to hit their opponent. One of those instances is when the other person messes up a move so badly that it could have seriously hurt someone. However, it takes a lot of courage to make a bold move like that on your boss's son. But if there is one person who can do it, The Undertaker is one of the few people in the WWE with the influence and respect to pull it off. Shane McMahon ended up being The Undertaker's opponent for WrestleMania 32. They were set to go head-to-head in an intense Hell in a Cell match. You won't believe what happened, however. Shane McMahon accidentally punched The Undertaker in the face during their intense exchange of blows on the final Monday Night Raw before the big event. But The Undertaker waited until their big match to get his revenge. He planned it out and purposely hit Shane McMahon, knocking him loopy. It was payback for Shane's previous carelessness, or as wrestlers called it, a receipt. At WrestleMania 32, the match between The Undertaker and Shane McMahon was brutal and high stakes, involving dangerous spots, including Shane's daring leap off the top of the Hell in a Cell structure. The match was a mix of scripted spots and real tension due to the prior physical altercation. Fans were highly engaged and polarized, with reactions ranging from admiration for Shane's risk-taking to concerns about the level of violence and its authenticity. Backstage, the intensity of the feud drew mixed reactions. While some appreciated the commitment to storytelling and the lengths both performers went to entertain the audience, others were critical of the dangerous stunts and the potential for real injury. This realness added an edge to the storyline and sparked debate about the limits of in-ring physicality in professional wrestling. Overall, The Undertaker versus Shane McMahon's storyline generated significant buzz and controversy, highlighting the thin line between scripted entertainment and genuine conflict in WWE, especially with the real punches involved. Speaking of real punches, there's not a punch more real than one thrown by a former UFC champion, which is how you know Braun Strowman is a tough man for taking it on the chin. During the Royal Rumble event in 2018, Brock Lesnar and Braun Strowman had a legitimate scuffle. When professional wrestlers throw punches at each other, they stomp on the ground to create that loud noise. They're trying to make it seem like their punches are powerful, but they're not connecting during the punches. However, there wasn't any stomping on the ground when Brock Lesnar chose to punch Braun Strowman in the face at the main event of that Royal Rumble. Strowman had accidentally smacked Lesnar right in the face with his knee. He was just moving way too fast and couldn't control it. Out of anger, Brock Lesnar punched Braun Strowman in the face, for real. Braun Strowman ended up stumbling after that unexpected hit, and the commentators noticed it too, with a genuine reaction from Corey Graves on commentary. The match continued without further incidents, but the backstage reaction was one of tension. Brock Lesnar's reputation for his short temper was reaffirmed, and Braun Strowman learned to be more cautious. The audience, unaware of the legitimacy of the incident, believed it was part of the scripted brutality of the match. This confrontation was immediately noticeable due to the intensity and real nature of the strikes, which stood out even in the context of professional wrestling. Fans and analysts quickly picked up on the genuine animosity at that moment. Braun Strowman later confirmed the incident, explaining that Brock Lesnar was unhappy about the stiff knee and reacted instinctively to maintain his dominance in the ring. He admitted that Lesnar clobbered him, but it was part of the job, and they both moved past it quickly. The match was already intense, with the wrestlers involved known for their physicality. The altercation added an extra layer of drama, captivating the audience and stirring live and online reactions. The live crowd at the event was initially shocked, with many realizing that something unscripted had happened. However, the match continued with its planned spots, including multiple table breaks and high-impact moves, keeping the audience engaged. From a backstage perspective, this incident highlighted the professionalism expected in WWE, even when things go off script. Wrestlers are trained to handle such situations and ensure the match progresses without further incident. While there were no official statements from WWE regarding the altercation, it became a talking point among fans and wrestling commentators, adding to the match's notoriety. In the days following the Royal Rumble, the situation was widely discussed on social media and wrestling forums. Some fans expressed concern over the safety of the wrestlers, while others admired the realism it brought to the match. Videos of the punches circulated online, with many highlighting the genuine nature of Lesnar's retaliation. Overall, the Lesnar-Strowman incident at the Royal Rumble 2018 is remembered as a moment where the lines between scripted entertainment and real conflict blurred, creating a memorable and controversial highlight in WWE history. Speaking of blurred lines, did you know that in 2004 on SmackDown, Kurt Angle had an unscripted segment where he had a real match with the Tough Enough contestants? During that match, Daniel Puder did something that went too far. Kurt Angle had managed to beat this guy named Chris Naraki in a contest. But then, Daniel Puder stepped up and accepted Angle's challenge for one more match. Puder managed to put Angle in the Kimura lock, and just for context, Kurt Angle was the top star back then. This is why even though Daniel Puder was a tough contestant, Kurt Angle couldn't tap out. Luckily, the referee, Jimmy Cordeas, pretended Daniel Puder's shoulders were down and gave the victory to Angle after the pinfall. Kurt Angle was so mad about what happened because he could have gotten hurt. In subsequent interviews, Angle reflected on the incident with mixed emotions. He acknowledged that Puder was doing what he knew as a fighter and didn't fully grasp the unwritten rules of professional wrestling's scripted nature. Angle admitted that he was in terrible physical condition at the time, unable to perform at his usual level, which contributed to the precariousness of the situation. Puder, for his part, has stated that he was simply following the no-striking rule and didn't intend to disrespect Angle. He later expressed that he bore no ill will towards Angle, seeing the incident as part of the opportunity presented to him in the wrestling business. The WWE locker room's response to Puder was less forgiving. At the 2005 Royal Rumble, Puder was punished by veterans in the ring. Entering the match early, he was subjected to brutal chops and strikes from seasoned wrestlers like Eddie Guerrero, Chris Benoit, and Bob Holly, effectively putting him in his place and asserting the pecking order within WWE. Kurt Angle has spoken about the incident, noting that while Puder's actions were unintentional, they highlighted a lack of understanding about the scripted nature of WWE events. This incident remains a significant example of how the boundaries between real and staged combat in professional wrestling can blur, leading to unforeseen and sometimes dangerous consequences. It also underscores the wrestling community's importance of mutual respect and understanding. Remember when we mentioned Shane McMahon earlier in the video? Well, here comes the money, again. The 2016 Survivor Series men's 5-on-5 match was incredible. It's up there as one of the best elimination matches of the decade. There were some cool moments and a quick reunion of the Shield, which fans loved. But you know what fans might have missed? Shane McMahon was going off script. That made Shane McMahon snap back to reality. On to the next entry on our list. Kevin Nash had some exciting matches in Canada during his WWE Championship reign. He took part in a series of house shows there. Once, he had a match against Pierre-Carl Ouellet in his hometown of Montreal. Ouellet didn't want to lose in his hometown, so it came down to either a double countout or Pierre winning by disqualification. But here's the thing, the Clique's backstage influence changed the outcome, so Nash ended up winning the match by pinfall. But somehow Pierre made a mistake during their match, which made their already tense relationship even worse. It got so intense that they ended up having a semi-real fight. Kevin Nash went all stiff and gave Pierre a powerful powerbomb move. After some time, they finally made amends, and Kevin Nash gave him a boost during their wrestling match in Canada for the International Wrestling Syndicate. The next entry on our list features Ron Simmons and Ahmed Johnson. The pair had a pretty intense rivalry on and off screen in the WWE because they didn't get along in real life. Like many other pro wrestling instances, the bitterness spilled over into the ring. On the day Ron Simmons made his WWE debut back in 1996, he kicked Ahmed Johnson right in the kidneys, injuring him. That was because Johnson had a reputation for being a reckless in-ring worker. So Ron Simmons just wanted to teach him a lesson. Johnson said that his kidney injury delayed the World Championship fight against Shawn Michaels. He believed that this setback made it less likely for him to win the championship in the future. He also said they had a real-life feud, mainly because Ron Simmons was jealous of him. The next entry on our list features Perry Saturn and Mike Bell. Perry Saturn was a hard worker. He had this amazing ability to adapt to wrestlers with different styles. No one will ever forget his infamous match against Mike Bell. During their match on Jacked in 2001, Bell messed up a move and Saturn landed on his head. Saturn got all fired up and started throwing punches at Bell like he meant to knock him out cold. He managed to land a hit right on Bell's head. So, Saturn decided to try out his mop gimmick after the incident. It was quite a sight to see him acting all crazy and even falling head over heels for a mop. That gimmick was silly, and it made WWE look bad for making Saturn seem foolish. 1 year before the Perry Saturn vs. Mike Bell match, New Jack had one of the worst injuries ever seen in pro wrestling. It was absolutely brutal. In 2000, he had this intense wrestling match with Vic Grimes at the Living Dangerously event. It was wild because they climbed up a 20-foot-tall scaffold during the match. However, Vic Grimes messed up the move and dropped poor New Jack onto the hard concrete. And to make matters worse, he even fell on top of him. New Jack ended up with brain damage and lost sight in his right eye because of that fall. However, New Jack got his revenge later. This match was where New Jack was supposed to throw Vic Grimes into a bunch of tables in the wrestling ring. The drop was roughly 40 feet.
Damn!
Later, New Jack confessed that he intentionally messed up the move. He wanted Vic Grimes to avoid hitting most tables and instead fall straight onto the mat. Yes, if there's anything you can take away from this video, things can get real inside the squared circle. Sometimes the squared circle can become reminiscent of the mixed martial arts octagon. A lot of MMA fighters have transitioned to professional wrestling. It's usually because they can score a bigger paycheck and face less risk of getting injured. Ken Shamrock joined the WWE back in 1997. It was after he had already achieved a lot of success in mixed martial arts tournaments. One of the reasons Shamrock got a reputation for being stiff and not pulling his punches properly in the WWE was because he came from an MMA background. But did you know that Ken Shamrock went up against Vader during the In Your House pay-per-view event in 1997? Shamrock broke Vader's nose in this match by throwing a bunch of punches. You won't believe what happened next, however. Vader almost knocked him out with a powerful lariat to the head. Remember, just because they are pro wrestlers, it doesn't mean they can't fight. When were you most shocked when WWE wrestlers legitimately started swinging at each other? Let us know your thoughts in the comment section, and before you leave, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to Ring Rivals so you don't miss.
That's crazy. I ain't gonna hold you.